Thanks, Peter. As Peter and Scott were talking about changes, and I think it's a great quote by Henry Ford that if we just keep doing what we've been doing for years, you're not going to notice any significant changes. And I think we all grew up in hockey, and I don't think hockey has to change a whole lot. I think we can just look at it and try to make it better as we go, and we've done that with. I remember when the body contact came out and how it was going to destroy hockey, and I think that was a great move. And IP cross ice, novice half ice, all these different things. Coach certification, and the new one we've come up with that I wanted to share with you tonight is the skating. If we look at young kids, I've got some grandchildren, and probably the biggest thing if they want to be decent hockey players is learning how to skate. And change is stressful, as we know, but I think it's necessary. So the question, what would having all of our IP coaches attend a fundamental skating clinic have an impact on player development in Manitoba? And this is something that Bernie and I talked about, Bernie Reichart and Corey McNabb from Hockey Canada. And just the, if we could get every IP coach to, and you're not going to make experts by sending people to a 90-minute clinic, but if every IP coach in Manitoba attended a clinic and just got some little hints. Like I think back when I started coaching, I would have loved something like that. So that's kind of the question we threw at ourselves. And so what we're going to talk about today is just this topic of teaching skating to very young kids. Or what's on your program is what my 4-year-old grandson taught me about skating. Because I kind of had this idea of what I was going to do in Hartley, Manitoba with this little 4-year-old, and he kind of completely changed my mind once we got doing it. So the hope of this clinic, and this is going to be a specialty clinic, and it's also going to be, we're also going to try to help our mentors who are IP mentors in the area. Hey, Rick. And just to be able to help every girl or boy be as good as they can be at the sport. And we don't have any false illusions we're going to make all NHL players. Let's just help them be as good as they can be. And we felt that one step towards this would just be exposing coaches to this. Okay. If you look at our player development pyramid, and you look right at the bottom where the IPs are, where your practices and instruction should be 85% skill development, and 15% a little bit of tactical play, like maybe how to take the puck off somebody or how to angle or things like that. But it should be heavily skill-based. And I know this is probably a little hard to read, but the whole top rows there, if you see the headings even, balance and agility, edge control, striding, forward skating, backward skating, turning and crossovers. And then you get down into some puck control and some other things, but it's pretty obvious that the experts are telling us that it should be a real heavy focus on skating. I think to me the number one focus is fun, but I think the number one thing we want to teach is skating. So our hope with this project is to help all of our IP coaches in Manitoba, and novice coaches are volunteers. Probably, I don't know what percent would be dads or moms, probably 85 or 90%. And just be there to support them, run a clinic with them, answer questions, and just go over some basic skating skills. So this was when we started, we had a vision. Okay, so what if we develop a specific skating program in Manitoba for IP and novice, which doesn't exist? So we decided that Hockey Manitoba and Hockey Canada would kind of team up and take a crack at this. And we would do this at no cost to any of the coaches or associations. We would have every IP coach in the province have access to the clinic. Now, you can't make people take clinics, but we would try to make it that everyone who wanted to could get to a clinic. And then after this is done, like hockey's a complicated sport. You're not going to sit down and have a clinic for 90 minutes in the classroom, 90 minutes on the ice and create experts. Support them after. give them somebody to talk to. We have coach mentors in the province. Corey's done just an outstanding job with the Hockey Canada app and the Drill Hub. And maybe go over the coaches, how can you use that, how can you access that to help out with your practices. Okay. So laying the proper foundation right at IP. Corey and I have had an opportunity to go to Finland a couple of times, and in Finland, they basically take their best teaching coaches and they put them at the youngest age group. I would suggest in Manitoba we probably don't do that. We're more prone to have our most trained and people at the most clinics teaching our, doing our AAAs at the highest level. But laying this foundation is kind of what we're going to try to do. So our idea was to develop a clinic that we can use, involve some real good people, Riley Dudar from Winnipeg and Dave Cameron, who works out at the Iceplex. Great skating guys, get them to volunteer their time. Partner with Hockey Canada. When we started doing this project, Corey and I were talking on the phone, and I told him what we were going to do, and he says, you know what, we're thinking of doing exactly the same thing, so why don't you come out here? So we were lucky because we had the excellent resources of Hockey Canada and the cameras, and we went out for about 4 or 5 days and shot video. But teach basics to coaches and link them to the resources that Corey's developed, train our mentors, which we're going to do tomorrow morning with this, and give every coach a chance.
Well, they'll figure it out.
Look! Oh!
It's like a video game.
Yeah, it's... Oh, the lad, there we go. Last one.
That last little duck, they say his name was Bernie.
Oh. She knows. How cute is that? Yay!
How many here have coached IP or novice? You know what this is about. You're going to have a huge difference in levels, and it's important that we coach them all. Reed and Corey and I were talking about the different sports, and then quite often the best players at 8, 9, 10 aren't the best players at 18, 19, and 20. All the late bloomers that happen. So we don't want to lose anybody. We want to keep them involved. We want to coach everyone, coach all the kids. And the other thing I think with this video is let the kids figure it out. We can't jam a 45-degree knee bend with an ankle flick while your head is over your knees to a 5-year-old. First off, they got to figure out how to stand up, how to balance, and then you can start teaching them. Okay. So, what did my grandson teach me? Well, the first thing was self-discovery. Figure it out. Just to start with these young guys, they just got to get their balance and feeling on them. They don't know what an inside edge or an outside edge is. And if you've ever tell a kid to bend your knees, well, if you bend your knees and sit there for about 30 seconds, you're going to be done. Okay, so they've just got to figure it out. Failure is absolutely necessary. If kids aren't falling down in practice or spinning out, then they're not pushing themselves hard enough. Let them fail, let them get out, give them little hints, but they've got to figure that out. Their attention span is minute. Every parent here knows that with their youngsters too. Like you've got to give them little bits of information at the same time. A 5-year-old kid can't skate, stick handle, get his head up, and make a decision with a puck. They can't multitask at that age. You've just got to give them little wee bits at a time. My teaching's done when they understand. I always hear people, well, I don't know why you can't turn right. We went over that. Well, go over it again. You can't just tell a 5 or 6-year-old once and think they're going to remember it. Okay, and repetition's key. The biggest motivators on the ice wasn't me. It was their friends, so it's fun. When I used to take Alec, who's my oldest grandson, out skating, if we went skating, we'd stay out for maybe half an hour, 40 minutes. He was done. If his friends were out there, I'd haul him off after 2 hours. So their friends are so important. Small corrections. I'm watching Alec and I'm watching his little buddies. And I don't know if you coaches have maybe noticed this, and I was a little slow getting up, but they always looked at their feet. So we'd do backwards skating, so what would they do? I'd tell them make a C, kind of a half C, and so they'd look at their feet. So the big thing with little kids, if they look where they're going, then they're going to have better posture. As soon as you look at your feet, your head are over here, and you're losing your balance. So I just used to skate around and say, look at the glass, look at the glass, look at the glass. It made a huge difference. Okay. The other thing is, you can go online and you can see videos and you can see knee pushes and stuff. And I'll get you to watch Riley and Dave, who are two very good skaters. And Riley's stance is like this, and Dave's stance is like this. They're different. We're all different. We're all put together differently. So we can't cookie cut 14 kids that are 5 and 6-year-old and say we're all going to skate the same way. Taylor Hall, he could drive a truck between his legs. Okay? But we're all built differently. The biggest thing is if it's no fun, there's no interest. They're not going to want to come back again. So it's got to be, yeah, do we need to get a little technical at this age? I think there's things like if you keep your head up, if you get your balance by bending your knees rather than bending your waist, those are little hints you can get along that you'll notice a huge difference after 2 or 3 practices. Telling them angles and other things aren't going to make a difference. Edited a couple of words out of there. I want to do it for boys, man.
Here it is, next triumph. That's it, I found it. That was it. I found it.
Just with young kids, the self-discovery, figure it out, do it. I think back when I was a young kid and we had CBC black and white television. CBC color television now isn't a whole lot better, but it was black and white. And we just came home and put the books on. I went and got 2 pails of water from the well for Mom, and away we went outside. And we didn't have parents around us telling us what to do. We just went out and played. And I think there's a lot of value to that. In saying that, I think in a practice you've got to build that fun element in, and then take maybe if I'm teaching skating to an IP, it would be maximum probably 8 to 10 minutes of practice. But just one little thing, do some reps, have some fun, goof around, and then play games and do it, and let them figure it out. Skating for little guys and girls is different. We're walking machines. As I'm walking right now, my groins are together. I'm pushing straight backwards. Okay? I don't want any friction when I hit like this, or it's just going to slow me down. And I'm going to stand. I'm very comfortable standing upright like I am right now. When you skate, you got to get here with your knees bent. You got to pull your shoulders back. If you don't have friction, you're not going anywhere. So you got to push to the side, and then you got to get your foot back under you, because if I leave my foot there and push to this one, I got nothing. So I got to push, I got to recover, I got to push, I got to recover. And this isn't very comfortable, and you can't stay here very long. So it's not a real natural thing for kids to do. And it's something you can start working on these things once they get their balance, okay? So once they can move around a little bit, then you can start saying, you know what, let's try bending our knees and putting our shoulders back, and let's start looking where we're going and see what difference that will make.
When it comes to skating, I think especially with the young players, the most important thing coaches can do is work on, you know, the ABCs, your agility, balance, coordination. Not every coach has a background in power skating or biomechanics of skating, and so don't try and fake it. At the same time, the kids at that level don't understand it either. So the most important thing is keeping them active, making sure they're turning left, they're turning right, they're stopping, they're starting, they're getting low with a good knee bend and things like that. And those are the most important components. Is just make sure that they're getting active and they're moving in multiple directions, north, south, east, west. Work on quickness, work on acceleration, and those types of things. And as players get older and their body develops, that will determine a lot of what their skating style is. So when you get into the intermediate or the sort of the middle-aged players, you know, 10 to 14, I think then you can work on a little bit more technique and biomechanics, but at the same time still working on the agility and the quickness and the acceleration. And then as players get older and they get to the full size that they're going to be, then you can really start to look at adapting the skating stride to them. Everyone is built different, everyone skates different. And I don't think we should have a one size fits all when it comes to skating. And one of the big things that we look at now is players that can skate the game. They have to be able to skate the game. Some players are faster in a straight line, other players are quicker and more agile in east-west or small areas. So when it comes to skating, there's lots of components that play into it. And when you look at it now, top-end speed isn't the most important skating skill. It's acceleration. It's the ability to win the race to a puck that's 10 feet away or 15 feet away. So working on that constantly from a young level, the acceleration and quickness and agility is going to set the table for everything that players do from a skating standpoint as they get older.
And that's why with novice and IP, the space, you shrink the space, you increase the pace, and you get those different skating skills. So we don't need, if you watch this video, it's a finished video, but they talk about the angles, the push leg, the drive leg, the head over the toe, the recover in a straight line on the outside edge, push. That means squat to a 5- and 6-year-old. It's all good stuff, but it's not what they need is just simple corrections. Just watch, watch what they're doing. If you look at Chloe here, she's got a little push there. Anybody suggestions? What's one thing that would really help Chloe here? I'll just watch it again. Oh, it doesn't want to play again. Oh, for some reason we got a glitch. Anyhow, all she had to do was just pull her shoulder back and put her bum down. You can get your balance in hockey two ways. You can just lean over on your stick. You can be perfectly balanced, but you can't skate very well. All you do is just bend your knees, put your bum down, and she'd be away. So that's all she needs to know. She doesn't need anything about angles. So once they have balance, once they're comfortable, then we start teaching. So we'll show you a little bit about what we tried to create. So when we do transition, there's a couple of different ways, but with the kids, we just talk about this heels and hips. So, with little guys and girls, just what does that mean? Well, we tell them we're going to dance. Okay, you're just going to dance and you're going to move your ankles and your hips, and that's the first thing toward it. So now what we're going to do is, this is what we're getting at. If you watch Riley's feet, okay, what he's going to do is what he just did stationary, heels, hips, back, and there. Okay, and this one. We don't want to get out way wide like that. Okay. So then we're going to teach just a little more linear thing here. So the video, every video I show you with the hockey thing, not the minions, but everything with the hockey is on Drill Hub. and you can go find it. You could have this presentation if you want to, if it's any good to you, and use it. But break it down, get the kids doing it, and then just up them. Stance is so important. You know, we talk about posture. If you've got a good posture, you can skate. So Roddy's getting down, good knee bend, knee shoulder width apart, and things like that. And with the kids, you know, it doesn't have to get fancy, but Chloe here does a real good job. You know, she's getting a feel for what it's like, about how deep her knees should be, right about her eyes, right at her hands level, and just get that feeling. She's on the flats of her skates instead of on the inside edges, so a whole bunch of little things you can work with there. This is my little grandson, Alec.
Oh!
So if he got all the way to me, he got to punch me in the stomach. So that's why he was so happy there. But the thing with little kids is they'll just push, and they won't glide. There's a group in, what's it, Quantum Speed in Edmonton? I asked the girls at Quantum Speed, what's the most important thing you can teach young kids? And she said, teach them how to glide. Teach them how to get up on the flats of their skates and glides. You can see Alec here. I think he was only, but that was a big step for him, just being able to glide and get balance. You'll also notice kids at this age live on their inside edges.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
That's their comfort zone. Okay, and it's really hard to get them on an outside edge because, you know, if you go on an outside edge, you're on one foot, and it's hard to do. So what we encourage coaches to do to start with is just get them gliding. You see Roddy's perfectly on his flats. Look how easy he glides. Let's watch this little guy. What would you tell him? Yeah, get on your flats. You're on your inside edges. That's going to slow you down. This guy's feet are outside. Not too bad, but he's a little on his inside edges. Here comes Chloe again. Girls always do it the best. They listen so well. But look at that. That's really good. She's about 6 or 7 years old. So just get them to feel. That guy's a little bit on the inside of his blades. Get them to feel what the flats are like, so they can glide. And goalies too. Okay. Next step is going to be what? Yeah, skating most of the time, a lot of the time you're on one foot. So we want to do the same thing with this. See what happens when your upper body's out of balance or when your arms aren't lined up. Just watch what happens to the weight. Okay. Because that leg's out to the side, you're going to get that wobble. So just to get them to feel what it's like. This is Alec, and when he started backwards, I didn't tell him anything. I just said, Alec, see if you can go backwards, and this is kind of what he did. Backwards. So being a grandfather that spoils the bejesus out of them and bribes them, I said, okay, Alec, every time we skate backwards, when you come off, you get a butterscotch candy, a little Werther's. So he and his buddies would do it. So that's it. But it kind of backfired because the mums got a little excited when they were chewing on one of those and skating. This is him about, you know, maybe 3 or 4 months later. And just the idea of now he's doing that one foot thing. He's pushing off one foot, he's gliding on the other foot, you know. Okay, we missed a couple there, but we'll just have to make do with what we got. The other thing is turns. And if you watch Alec here, you see the big turn. You'll also see he's on both his inside edges, which all the young kids will do. So what we want to do with this is just, again, we don't want to get bogged down in detail. So all I'm going to tell, I'll show you that's about his cape, you know, that's where he's at right now. I didn't try to get him on the outside edge there because he would have fell on his head, but after he does that. So I'm going to show you what we did with Chloe on the next one here. So you just watch her head. If you turn your head and your shoulders, your whole body will follow. She's got both her feet on the ice. Really got to go to the girls. But really good on the feet, inside edge, outside edge, some separation. She's turning her upper body. And that's to me is just an outstanding turn for a little girl that age. And then obviously you're going to add the pucks with these once they get onto it. I think pucks are a bit of a distraction. I would teach the skating first. But you know what? This might take all year. Like it's not a sprint. Learning hockey's not a sprint. You just got to be patient. And rather than playing 40 games a year, if you did this, you know, in 10 practices a year or something like that, you'd get some results. And as I said,
Who scored?
Alec John Morrison!
so it's fun with the stick and puck, but little Alec, it was funny because we'd be, you know, I'd say, okay, let's do some backwards, or let's do some, he had his cousin named Roan, so let's do some Roan turns around the puck, and he would often put his stick up and then go do the skating first. So I think that's not a bad idea. If you're going to teach crossovers, as my skating instructor Tony Franklin told me, you first off got to learn, you got to be able to go on your inside edge and your outside edge. So with Alec, I just had him skate around there, and then we just did this. Just got the idea, and that, you know, he'd wipe out, but it was fun for him. He'd go on his right foot, go on his left foot. And once he could do that, then we would start some crossovers. This is Dave Cameron, great hockey instructor, just showing the kids how to, this is the toughest one for the little guys, is the outside edge. But look at the balance he's in, and you'll just see the kids. And when they learn to keep still, keep their legs inside their shoulders and things, like little hints like that, which is, and that's the idea of this whole program. We'll pass that on to the mentor coaches. The mentor coaches will hopefully go home to your associations and take your coaches out, give them the little hints. Look at Chloe again, just nice still upper body and nice glide. You can't cross over until you can do this. So this, you know, when you're putting if you've got an hour practice, you might start with a little activity, a fun game, and this might be your second activity, or it might be one of your stations or whatever. Here they're going on inside edges, and then it'll progress to other ones too. As you go. And then one leg back. If you don't want to do a whole lot of backward crossovers, but we're going to try to teach Alec here how to glide on one leg, which he's doing pretty good, and then progress to the next step. So little steps every practice. My next grandson, I'm going to teach stopping a little quicker because the end boards were huge factors. And when he was racing his buddies, they'd take off and race, and you figure, oh my God, neither of those two can stop. Hartney's got the hardest end boards in Canada in their rink. It's just a cement block. Now, if you watch Chloe here, some keys here. She's just going to do a one. Okay. The big thing is you got to turn your head. So when you turn your head, because there's only one reason you're stopping, and that's because you're going the other way. So turn your head. Now we're going to get her on both feet. So instead of just the front foot snow plowing, she's got an inside edge and an outside edge. Okay. Will they do that on their own? Probably not. Okay, that's something you have to show them. It's not technical. But it's something that we need to show them. You know, turn your head first. You know, your feet. You got one inside edge, one outside edge, and there you go. And it's got to be fun. I tell you, the one thing Alec taught me is if we go out and goof around on the ice for 45 minutes,
how a player gets that
most
first
of it's going to be
experience in
fun.
hockey is critical. Fundamental skills are what the initiation program is all about, with the common denominator being fun. The initiation program is Canada's premier learn-to-play program for beginning hockey players. Hockey Canada has developed the program such to ensure the child's first contact with hockey is safe and positive. Skill acquisition is at the forefront of this program, while ensuring young boys and girls also have fun and develop a lifelong passion for the game of hockey. Hockey Canada believes it is important for every player to have access to the best program in the world for developing fundamental skills while having that all-important fun. The sport can only become a lifetime adventure if you start with the fundamentals of the initiation program.
And then another big part of practice, I think, is right there. It's just got to be fun. It's got to be games. It's got to be a little bit of competitiveness every practice. So the IP clinic is obviously aimed at the IP novice level. We've set it up so it's a classroom of 90, ice of 90. But you know what? I'm going to talk to the mentors tomorrow. There's a lot of information there. Maybe you want to make 2 clinics out of it. Maybe you want to have coaches night once a month throughout the year and introduce new things. That's entirely up to the regions. and just help the coaches with error correction. I just do this one example of sculling, and sculling is just skating with your feet on the ice and pushing off your heels. So, you know, if I'm teaching this to kids, then I'm just gonna go over that with them. I'm gonna say you're gonna make C cuts with your heels is all you're gonna do, and you can change. I'm gonna show you something really neat. If you lift one toe up and let your heel on the ground, you can spin around and let them goof around with it. And, this is Alec doing it, just doing that sculling. And the reason you scull is most players now, when they have the puck, can get going full tilt in about 3 or 4 strides, and what they do is just settle in.
Matthews back
like
through
Matthews
the middle of the
here.
ice. Waits, takes a shot, he scores.
You watch this, he doesn't take a stride from the red line
Nothing
to the goal line.
Wow, and time and space when you give the guy the line and allow him to just walk in uncontested. How many times in this young career already have you seen that? The curl and drag around the stick, the quick release.
So you're just getting that skull, push off your heels, and you can stick handle. You can get the puck a lot wider and protect the puck a lot better. So then you can start that at IP. So the clinics that we'll do with the coaches are going to be, you'll see the coach probably doing the skill in a good way, because Riley and Dave are excellent, and then examples of all these little kids that Corey got out in Calgary of what it actually looks like with an IP kid doing it. Okay. Oh. So these Crosby Eagles or Mohawks or whatever they're called, this is kind of a progression you can use. Is just, you know, do a penguin walk, do a duck walk. You know, the big thing with this stuff is how do you teach it? It's not what it looks like. We all know what it looks like, but how do you actually teach it? Just the kids know that just you put your heels together. Okay, so we did the duck walk, we did the penguin walk, the heels. Now you're just going to just nice and safe go around in a circle, pushing off one foot. I actually talked to some IP coaches. I said, do you think this is a little advanced? And they said, no, I don't think it is. I think there's lots of kids who can do it. And of course, Riley does it at a little higher tempo here. But that's what this clinic's all about, is little things, little progressions, being positive with the kids, letting them fail. They're going to fail lots. If you're not failing, you're not. In Finland, when they have a hockey practice, like when I say hockey practice in Canada, we all think of, if the ice is an hour, that's our hockey practice. In Finland, they'll do stick handling, they'll do jumping, they'll do one-leg stuff, just because that's what hockey is most of the time. Balance, agility. They'll work with wooden balls. They'll do their warm-up, and then they'll go on the ice. That might take 45 minutes. They have their hour ice time, and then they have a cool-down. So a Finnish practice for IP might be 90 minutes to 120 minutes, but it involves, you know, you've got them there. I think a lot of us in the rural areas appreciate mom and dad maybe driving the kid 20, 30 miles or more to practice. So does it make sense to, you know, to do a bunch of your skill work? I know with Alec and little Nate, his 2-year-old brother, who's going to be probably a permanent fixture in the penalty box from what I can see to date. But even going out in the backyard with a wiffle ball with those two makes a huge difference when they go on the ice. Love this quote. It's from a person in Belgium who took over the hockey program, or the soccer program there, and trying to turn it around, and just said, you know, make your kids love the game. After that, you can help them learn the game. So this technical, and I don't even know if it's technical, the stuff we've been talking about skating, to me, shouldn't dominate a practice. It's a part of a practice. It's part of the aspect you're going to teach. The big thing is it's got to be fun. They got to have fun doing it. When I started coaching, there was no drill books. There was nothing. You did how you were coached. There's so many resources there. Set yourself a path. Educate yourself. You know, go to clinics. It's great. So many people are here today. Talk to people. Bernie and Scott and all the guys at Hockey Manitoba, just give them a call. They'd be glad to help you with resources. And the key at this age is process. You You know, I think back when I coached my son in IP, how many games do we win? I have no idea. I have no idea. The big thing, the important thing with that is I think that we did a lot of skill development with our kids at those ages, and the whole idea is to get better and to teach at every practice. The compete level. When I go down to the basement with Alec, we'd always play floor hockey. Of course, he'd always win, because Grandpa'd let him win. And then I realized that was kind of a mistake, because we'd go over and the cousins would come over from across the street, somebody'd take the ball away from him, and why would anybody do that? Like, that's my ball. Well, Alec, in hockey, there's only one puck, so he's not being mean, or he's not a jerk. So I think all those, just that sportsmanship aspect and the compete aspect, you know. So we go out in the backyard and I knock his stick out of his hand and stuff like that on purpose now and stuff, and make him go get, not nasty, but I said, Alec, that's going to happen. And just the words we use, like as soon as you say, like, don't cross your feet, or don't look at your feet, or don't lean on your stick, what thoughts are in your head? Crossing your feet, leaning on your stick. So try to pick the positives. Like, good job, Alec, that's really good. Now just bend your knees, put your bum down. Put your bum down, look at the glass. Okay. And it's got to be a game. Once we make it too technical, it's not going to be any fun. Well.
Good coaches at every level use small area games.
There's a lot of situations where you're battling in the corner and you need to be able to make those quick passes or a quick communication. So I think it's important to have small area games in practice.
We need more offense in the game, so we definitely focus on scoring quite a bit with our team, and we do a lot of small area games.
The game now is quicker and it's condensed, you know, in battles in the corner, in front of the net. It's very important to be able to be efficient at that and know how to score too.
You have to be able to make plays in pretty small areas, and the more you practice that, I think the better off you are.
It's a tremendous tool for all coaches at all levels.
When we talk about little children, what type of things are they exposed to? There's usually some scaling process. So, for example, going to school, or the furniture is small because the children are small. If you look outside at the bike rack, the bikes are all small because that's who's riding to school. They're not adults. Exactly the same when it comes to sports. Smaller implements, smaller playing surface, lighter equipment, lots of time doing things because there's going to be lots of experimentation. They're learning to do something, and it's...
I'm just going to stop it there because of our time factor, but just the idea of games and small area games should be a big part of every practice. So do the skating skill, show them what it is, and see if it shows up in the game. Said Corey's done a great job. We've got Drill Hub, we've got the network, which Corey will talk about when he's on. But fun first, you know, help them become the best they can be. 96-4, I was at a coaches conference in Regina a couple of summers ago, and Tom Rennie was there, and the statistics show that 96% of our athletes will not play anything above minor hockey. 4% will play junior A, B, C, college, pro, at different levels. So, you know, that's reality. And it's, you know, we need to teach that 4%, but we also need to teach that 96%. The whole idea of this project is, can we in some way train coaches in your community to know a little bit more about skating so they can teach at home, which means all the kids get the instruction, not just the ones that maybe mom and dad send off to a $600 hockey school somewhere. Be inclusive, provide an equal opportunity to every kid. So if we can get to, you know, ideally, if we get to every IP coach, then we have a chance to connect with every IP kid. skip that one. So the clinic will be free. The coaches will leave with PDF notes on all the little bullet points and tips for this. They'll be involved with a night session. They'll be shown how to access the Hockey Canada Drill Hub. And if you have an IP mentor in your region that's trained, which I hope you do, then they'll be involved. So we're ready to go. The clinic's ready to go. The videos are ready to go. We'll, after tomorrow, hopefully have some IP mentors ready to go. Your region's invited. Again, it doesn't cost anything. And it's basically up to you.
Some build, others tear down. Some take risks, others critique the risk takers. Some pursue the infinite, others settle for a life of limitation. Some make change, others complain that things are no longer the same. Some help people grow, others think that your loss is their gain. Some learn from misfortune, others become held down by it. Some turn fear into opportunity, others avoid the unknown. Some never stop learning, others think they have all the answers. Some do, others talk. Some give, others take. Some live, others wish. Some see an opportunity, others see an obligation. Some work toward the possibility of excellence, others run from the possibility of defeat. Some fall and get back up, others stay where they are so that they never have to worry about leaving their feet. Some embrace the elements, others take shelter. Some search, seek and discover, others wait to be told. Some perform, others watch. Some persist, others stop. Some make the most of every single day. And others watch those very same days go by. So which one are you? What will you create with the pieces presented to you? Not tomorrow or the next day, but right now and every second moving forward. Will you build or tear down, take the easy road or the road less traveled? When all is said and done and you've come to the end of your story, what will it say?
Okay. It's the reason we've got the best resources in the world. Like Corey's done an outstanding job. The hockey app has got every video, every teaching tool you can get on it. Drill Hub's there. It's up to us to implement it. And you people in this room are the movers and the shakers. That's why you're here. And it says on that thing, a bit of skill and a whole lot of fun. So if we can use those small area games, there's clinics for that. There's people that can help teach the skating, teach a little bit of puck handling at this level. I know what it's like to coach this level, believe me. And that might be pretty typical of some of the practices, because you get, you get such a different group of kids, but it is a challenge. But they deserve our best. The parents have probably made sacrifices to get them there. The kids are coming out and they're keen, and it's up to us, in my opinion, to be the best we can be. Be the best communicators, be the best coaches, set the best example, and do what we can to help them, knowing that the 4% might not even be achievable, knowing that, but it's got to be a good place. Better coaches make better players. And our mentorship program, that's what it's all about, is going out to your community. So Hockey Manitoba sends the people, pays the bills, sends the equipment. Local coaches come out, hopefully pick some things up, and that's the whole idea behind the mentorship program. What a great video. Okay. I can't claim that one. I got that off the internet, but that's Canadian kids. That's my little grandson with the long stick there. He's got one short, but he won't use it if there's a bigger one. To my family, it's my daughter and son and their kids. Like, what I want, you know, would I like them to be good hockey players? Sure, I would. We all would love our kids to do well, but I just want them to have fun with their friends, and I see that with Alec when I go out with his buddies and improve their skills. Be respectful. That idea of competing within the rules, gain some confidence. It's the epidemic of iPhones and iPads and getting your kicks through technology is all over the place, and you got to be careful. I think this is such a great alternative. Okay. Thanks to Riley and Dave and Corey for spearheading the resources here and getting so much done, all volunteer work. Wishing everybody a great season. Trophies don't matter. When you get my age, there's a few trophies in the basement that have got dust on them. You can't remember them, but what you leave behind is not what's a trophy, but what's woven into the lives of the kids you coach. I love this quote, John Wooden: "A good coach can change a game. A great coach can change a life." So have a great season. If any of this is interesting or makes sense to you, just get a hold of Bernie or Erickson at Hockey Manitoba, and I'd be glad to help you kickstart it and get it running. As I said, we're hopefully after tomorrow we'll be ready to go.